Very good afternoon to all of you. At the outset, let me take the opportunity to express my gratitude to CSR Foundation Research for giving me the opportunity to share my vision and my views on the very apt topic, that is net zero emission pathway, and what is contribution of my ONGC, my PSU, that is ONGC, Oil and Natural Gas Corporation Limited, toward this net zero mission. I think you all must be remembering this. This almost 3 months is over when this COP26 ended at Glasgow, and this global climate crisis has emerged a talking point of the whole universe as such. So precisely, I'll start with the net zero emission. What does net zero emission mean? See, basically net zero emission is not generating any kind of greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. And if at all we are generating greenhouse gases, then we have to get rid of these greenhouse gases through absorption means, or through creating more carbon sinks, or through removal, or resort to the different sources of energy. See, presently there is a huge load on the coal and the fossil fuels, contribute to a great extent for our meeting the energy requirement. And here, for combating this greenhouse gases, we need to have basically two methodology. One is absorption. Absorption means we have to create a lot of forest and tree cover. And you will be surprised to know, as of now, India has around 21.2% as the forest cover and around 2.1 around tree cover. So if you total it, it comes around 24.24% of total forest and tree cover. But now the question is this 24% of forest and tree cover that our country entails is sufficient to cater to our requirement of greenhouse gases? Certainly not. We need a lot more, maybe around 40 million tons of equivalent will not serve the purpose. So, and probably you might be aware also about the intended nationally determined contribution of India. There we have already, Prime Minister have already announced that we need to have around 2.5 to 3 million tons of carbon dioxide additional sink to be created by 2030. There are so many deliberations on this INDC, and I like to quote, rather reiterate the Honorable Prime Minister's vision that is known as Panchamrit. I think we all must be very aware about this. I mean, the first part of the Panchamrit is increase its total fossil energy capacity to 500 gigawatt by 2030. Earlier, the mandate was to have a 450 gigawatt, which was further revised to 500 gigawatt by 2030. Then the second part of important Panchamrit is meet 50% of the energy requirement with renewable energy by 2030. The third is reduce the projected carbon emission by 1 billion tons by 2030. And the fourth one is reduce the carbon intensity of its economy by 40% by 2030. See, these all are the different means through which we'll be moving through or combating the greenhouse gas emission or the net zero pathway. And last but not the least is the achieve net zero emission by 2070. Here I'd like to say that India is the third largest emitter of greenhouse gases in the world. The first is China, followed by USA, and third is India. Now if you count in terms of per capita, per capita greenhouse gas emission, then India stands far behind, lag at almost on the bottom of the table. So as far as the emission is concerned, European Union, USA and China, they have already done enough of greenhouse emissions and done enough of it, and their per capita also is very high in comparison to India. So India, again honoring the COP25 meeting at Paris, that Honorable Prime Minister has clearly envisioned that whatever the targets were set in at COP25 Paris Agreement, those targets, India is well ahead of it. India is already, in most of the instances, they have already outnumbered it. So that is one very positive aspect of our country and our Honorable Prime Minister's vision. Now I like to take about the India's foray towards net zero emissions. What are the different facets, what are the different aspects in which India is foraying into? Now, which I earlier told you, this India's per capita emission also remain low at almost 1.94 tons per carbon dioxide, which is less than half the global average of 4.2 tons of carbon dioxide per capita. So you see, almost we are less than even half as far as the emission of greenhouse gas per capita is envisaged. The next, renewable energy, which primarily part is solar, wind and biomass power. This accounted for over 24% of India's total installed electricity capacity as of July 2020. India has already got a very a big target of 500 gigawatt through renewable energy, that is, meeting all our energy requirement to the tune of almost 50%. So India has to forge ahead in a big way towards renewable energy. Now factoring into the large hydropower projects and nuclear, India's non-fossil fuels total around 38% of the country's installed capacity, which is almost as much as nationally determined contributions under the Paris agreements. So these are the positive sides of India, which is foraying in a big way. Now another interesting feature is, in July 2021, the installed capacity of renewables in India was 98.8 gigawatt. A lot is required to be done to achieve the target of 500 gigawatt of energy requirement till 2030. Now with regard to the nuclear energy, we have till now the total installed capacity of almost to the tune of 6.7 gigawatt, which needs to be enhanced, which India is projecting that would be catering to the requirement at 22.48 gigawatt by 2031. Now I'd like to share some of the interesting facts regarding our forest cover. The total forest cover of our country, I think probably I have already told, is around 24.62 as per IESRF 2021. That is India State Forest Research Mandate 2021. Now MOEF&CC, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, has already taken several initiatives, several landmark decisions for improving forest conservation through people's participation, then to achieve additional carbon sink of 2.5 to 3 billion tons carbon dioxide equivalent by 2030. Nagar Van Yojana has been launched by the ministry to again address the urban forestry, because now we see that a lot of population is shifting towards the urban. So urban also, there are a lot of emissions already there. So to cater to the requirement of this urban emissions, this Urban Van Yojana has been launched, and a lot of activities are envisaged under this by the ministry. Now India has set a target of bringing around 33% of the geographical area under forest cover, which is again a very significant landmark. Hydrogen is seen as a sunrise technology. I think there are a lot of speakers in the first session and second session has already deliberated on hydrogen, green hydrogen. And Mahawar Sahib also given a good picture, good glimpse of the different kinds of hydrogen. India has the potential to bring down the cost of green hydrogen by using low cost renewable generating plants and cost curtailment experience gained through solar and wind reverse auctions. See here, the main focus, main impetus is to bring the cost of hydrogen, green hydrogen generation from $5 to $6 per kg to well around $1 per kg. I think Reliance Industries, Adani Green and Adani Energies, they are doing a lot of work on this field. GAIL has also tied up with some international agency for further research, for further R&D in this green energy, green hydrogen. Next. Now I like to summarize the imperatives to achieve net zero. Now, see, we need to phase out coal plants gradually because there has been already a lot of dependence on the coal as the fossil fuel. The coal, in the next slide, probably I'll discuss, what is the India's perspective, how India is going to achieve through all this. Then invest in the clean energy is another important facet. Retrofit and decarbonize buildings. A lot of building heatings and all that. Those things have to be taken care through green energy. Then decarbonize cement, steel and plastics, shift to electric vehicles, decarbonize our aviation industry, reduce and lose waste and improve agriculture practices, eat more of plants. Probably 2-3 years back, there was a lot of UN cry that India consumes lot of food grains and non-veg also. See, this is basically a very good account which I have taken it from Council of Energy and Environment Water. This is a leading public policy think tank. They have envisaged if India has to achieve a target of net zero emission by 2070. So these are all important things that India has to take into account. So these are all very interesting facts I wanted to share with you all. See, for example, everyone has talked about the decarbonization of the economy. It's a very much need of the hour. We need to do a lot in decarbonizing our economy. Now, with regard to the coal-based power generation, it must peak by 2040 and reduce by 99% between 2040 and 2060. See, these are all envisaged, keeping in mind the vision of 2070 for achieving the target of net zero emission. Now, with regard to the solar-based electricity generation, capacity must increase to 1,689 gigawatt by 2050 and another 5,630 gigawatt by 2070. See the magnitude of work we have to do in the field of renewables, in the field of solar energy and the wind energy. Now, wind-based electricity generation capacity must increase to 557 gigawatt by 2050 and another 1,792 gigawatt by 2070. So see the amount of work that has to be done in the field of wind energy. Now, with regard to the nuclear-based electricity generation, capacity must increase to 68 gigawatt by 2050 and to 225 gigawatt by 2070. Here I like to share some interesting facts. USA energy requirement is almost met to the tune of 15 to 20% through nuclear energy. France is another country which more than 50% of the energy requirement is met through nuclear energy. And when we talk of India, do you know where do we stand? As of now, the total energy requirement is met to the tune of only 3.11% in India. So nuclear energy has got a huge scope, plus nuclear energy doesn't have any greenhouse gas emission. The only main concern is here is safety. I mean, safety concern is of paramount importance while handling these nuclear power reactors and the nuclear energy. Then, even in hydrogen share, the total industrial energy must increase to 15% by 2050 and 19% by 2070. Now, another interesting fact I'd like to share is the industrial energy intensity of total GDP must decline by 54% between 2015 and 2050. See, the use amount that is reduced need to be reduced almost to the tune of 54%, and by further 32% between 2050 and 2070. Now, the intensity of electricity used in building sector with respect to the total GDP must decline by 45% between 2015 and 2050, and another 2.5% between 2050 and 2070. Now, Bhavar Sahib was telling that crude oil industry will stay for another 20 to 25 years at least. Yes, definitely, he is very right, because the other sources of energy will take time to further accumulate and be more cost effective. So, crude oil consumption in the economy must peak by 2050. That means we have another 28 years in our hand, and decrease by 90% between 2050 and 2070. See, this is a very interesting fact. You can download from the Council of Energy, Environment and Water. This is a leading public policy think tank. Now, coming to ONGC's contribution and the vision on the climate change. See, we have got an environment policy, a very robust environment policy, which have already taken into account meeting the climate crisis through our reduce emissions, sources of adopting the clean energy through clean energy and clean technology. This is already there in our environment policy of the organization. Then using all climate friendly, eco-friendly methodology in addressing our environment solutions. Then with regard to the ONGC's contribution meaningfully towards Honorable Prime Minister's vision of achieving target of 500 gigawatt through renewable energy by 2030. As of now, we have got a 153 megawatt of wind power project installed. One is at 102 megawatt is at Jaisalmer, and another one is 51 megawatt at Bhuj in Gujarat. With regard to the solar power projects, we have installed 31 megawatt till now, and another 20 megawatt solar projects are underway of commissioning. So the total installed capacity of renewable energy by ONGC as on 31st March 2021 is almost 184 megawatt. Now I'd like to share the ONGC's energy vision, energy strategy for 2040. This ONGC's energy strategy vision envisages to build a 5 to 10 gigawatt capacity portfolio with focus on offshore wind. We are going to harness offshore wind energy towards de-risking of portfolio against long-term distribution and reducing carbon footprint of the company. During 2021, total of 37,016 million units of electricity was generated from solar power. Now, with regard to the geothermal energy, ONGC has taken up first geothermal energy project in Ladakh with the capacity of 1 MW power plant at Puga, Ladakh. This is a pilot. Already wildlife clearances have been already obtained, so it is going to be start shortly. Now you must have heard this clean development mechanism. ONGC has already registered 15 number of projects as a clean development mechanism with UNFCC, that is United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. And another 3 are underway. Some are like rooftop solar power projects at work centers of Gujarat, Assam and Dehradun are under validation process for registry at CDM projects. Now we have almost replaced around 3.1 lakh LED light replaced all through the traditional this, and which amounts to the reducing GHG emission by approximately 46,740 tons of carbon dioxide.
As the solar capacity in India is 14 gigawatt only. As you told us, for achieving net zero to 70, we have to install solar plant of level 5020 gigawatt. Is there any plan to achieve this much of the solar power?
See,
to 70? Because till now only 14 gigawatt is achieved by all the efforts of Prime Minister. Is there any framework and planning is there?
See, already in intended nationally determined contribution, all details about what is the role, how much renewables has to put focus is almost, it was in INDC it was 450 gigawatt, that was to achieve, that is official one. Then with regard to the global methane initiative, this action oriented initiative from United States Environment Protection Agency to reduce global fugitive methane emissions to enhance economic growth, promote energy security, improve the environment and reduce greenhouse gases emissions. So we have already working on detail. So our all production installation, production facilities are using this for figuring out this global methane initiative. Then under the program of approximately 20.48 million MMSME of methane gas leakage prevented since inception. And you will be happy to note that ONGC has a green building which is very efficient, saves energy to the tune of almost 50%. That is at green building at Delhi. This is all LEED certified, Mumbai, Dehradun and Calcutta. And this has got all water harvesting facility, 100% water harvesting facility. Water is saved to the maximum possible extent. There is a zero discharge of sewage. Now some of the initiative we have undertaken as a part of green initiative. First time with the participation of community, we have planted in Rajasthan Ghotaru region. This is a totally desert region. We have thought to take it up on a pilot basis and green almost the area of 8 hectares, and it is estimated that in that particular area, I think we had taken it 2 years back and already this is a flourishing. This is almost that whole area with the help of the community participation has become a good green hub. And I think probably this will amount to sequestering 7,92,000 kg of carbon dioxide annually. Now with regard to the gas flare reduction, ONGC is restricting to the target of less than 2%. Paperless office, our office is totally paperless for the last 3 years through the DISHA, that is digitization, integration and standardization of harnessing automation. This particular initiative alone, thousands of trees from cutting down every year. Then waste heat recovery also has been harnessed at various places, particularly in the offshore regions. I think that's all from my desk, sir. Thank you so much.